Hello, lovelies. Happy Wellness Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Donya Fahmy, and I'm the Alchemist in Chief for Sustainable Health Solutions and Dropwise Essentials. I'm also known as a natural health expert and a lifestyle transformation facilitator. And I'm here with you live today to share some tips and information with you on how to choose skincare products that are not toxic, won't prematurely age you, or damage your health. Now, let's face it, all of us, or most of us, use skincare products on a somewhat daily basis, some more than others, right? And the reason I'm wanting to share this topic with you today is that in spite of a growing body of evidence that most of the chemicals that are being used in many of these products that we slather on every day are harmful to our health, do create toxicity, and prematurely age us, not the least of which is of the problems that it creates for us. But in spite of all this knowledge and this evidence, most people don't pay any attention to what they're rubbing into their skin, every day, and how it might actually be harming their health. So this is a perfect example of something I call your hidden health mines. Mines being M-I-N-E-S, like a landmine, like when you step on a landmine. Well, a hidden health mine is like the chemicals and toxic ingredients that are hiding out in plain sight in our everyday, seemingly harmless products. And in this particular category of products, meaning your personal care and beauty, I call these health mines your petty culprits, because they're kind of like little petty thieves that are hiding out undetected in the shadows and secretly stealing your energy and your vitality without you realizing that that's what's contributing to your problem. And I believe that petty culprits are among the most overlooked triggers or sources for a wide variety of health problems. Everything from chronic fatigue and headaches to brain fog and more serious issues like autoimmune conditions. And it may even be sabotaging your weight loss efforts. So it's real important to pay attention to what you're putting into your body and rubbing onto your skin and how it might be impacting you in ways that you're not even aware of, right? So in this session, I'm going to cover 3 things with you that I feel you need to know to avoid this beauty trap. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you or explain to you exactly how these unhealthy ingredients in these products are actually harming you and prematurely aging you. And then second, I'm going to share some tips with you on how to look for what to avoid. So how to know what, if your products that you're using now or that you're considering buying are toxic, what to eliminate and what to look for instead. And I'm going to give you some tips, some handy quick tips on how to navigate product labels so that you can get a better idea of what you should be looking at when you read the product label. And that'll hopefully help you get started down the path to choosing healthier, more natural options. And then last but not least, I'm going to share some additional online resources with you to help take you further along this path. So, let's face it, if you're going to spend money or a lot of money on products that are designed to help you look and feel younger, then they should actually be able to do that without compromising any other aspect of your health. Who's with me here? By the way, feel free to share this post or tag in when you know who might be interested in this topic or could benefit from learning more about it. So now one caveat here that I have to insert here before I start, which is that your skin is an outer reflection of your inner ecology, meaning whatever's going on inside of your body is generally reflected outward in your skin. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something dramatic like a rash or eczema or anything like that. It could just be dry skin. It could be flaky skin. Anything that where your skin doesn't feel and look healthy is an indication that your inner ecology needs some work. Let's put it that way. But so it means your inner ecology is polluted to some extent. And that's why it's all the more important to, obviously the first step for that is to pay attention to what you're putting in your mouth and in your body, meaning your diet choices, because those have a significant impact on your inner ecology. And the more polluted your inner ecology is, the more toxic you're going to be and the more it's going to be reflected outward in your skin. So no product is going to fix what needs to be fixed from the inside, but it's even more important to pay attention to what you're putting on your skin, because what you don't want to do is add to the pollution of your inner ecology if it's already somewhat polluted. Okay, so hopefully that's enough of an incentive for you to want to learn more about this as well. So let's cut to the chase here. I'm going to share some startling statistics with you that I think you need to consider. Did you know here in the United States, the average woman uses 12 personal care products a day, And each of those products contains an average, okay, these are all averages now, 168 different chemical ingredients. So it's estimated that the average woman here in the United States is being exposed to over 2,000 chemicals a day just from personal care products alone. Now, again, these are estimates and they may be a little bit overstated, but look, any way you do the math, okay, let's say you only use 6 products a day and those products contain an average of maybe 25 chemical ingredients, then you're looking at several hundred chemicals that you're being exposed to a day just from your personal care products. Does that make it really any better? I mean, 500, 2,000, 1,000, you're still being exposed to several hundred chemicals a day, okay? So I want you to just think about that, remember that. And pay attention, those of you who have daughters, because the numbers are even higher because it's estimated that teenagers use an average of 17 personal care products a day. Personal care, beauty, it's makeup, lip balm, moisturizer, the whole deal. So even more shocking than that is that more than 80% of the over 10,000 chemicals that are used to make these products in the industry today have never been tested for safety in humans. Okay, and I don't know, I find that pretty crazy. And at like 50% of the ingredients that have been tested, which is still not a lot when you consider that 20% of 10,000 chemicals, have been deemed questionable or found to be unsafe. So I don't know if that's not enough to convince you that the multi-billion-dollar beauty industry doesn't necessarily have your best interest at heart. I don't know what is. I mean, they didn't get to be a multi-billion-dollar industry by putting you first, right? Okay. So without dissing anyone in particular on this, but it's just a general statement. Now, if you think the government has your back, let's clear up this misconception right now. It doesn't, okay? And here's a perfect example of this. This issue about toxic chemicals and the damage to human health has been of grave concern to many other countries. So here in the US, we're lagging way far behind the European Union, Canada, Australia, and in fact, over the last 10 years or so, actually more than 10 years, I think it's been like 14 years ago it started, the European Union banned 1,100 chemical ingredients that it deemed to be unsafe and potentially harmful to pregnant women and unborn children. Now, by contrast, here in the United States, over that same period of time, only 12 ingredients have been banned, okay? So think about that for a second. 12 out of more than 10,000 versus 1,100 out of more than 10,000. So 1,100, it might be more than that by now, but that's at least 10% versus can't even do the math on the 12 ingredients. So I don't know, who besides me finds this shocking and really upsetting? Give me a wow here in the comments if you do. This is why it's really imperative for you to become the first line of defense for yourself and your family and your loved ones when it comes to your health, safeguarding your health and picking products that are not going to create harm. Okay, so it's not your fault, if you've been subconsciously trained to believe that, products that are everyday products that you use aren't harmful. And the reason I say this is that if you're not paying close attention to what's in the package that you're buying and rubbing into your skin, and you're making your purchase decision based on, sexy packaging or whatever happens to be on sale that week, you could be, making yourself sick without realizing it. And very likely you're shortening your lifespan because of how these chemicals contribute to the problem. And here's why, because 60% of what you rub into your skin gets absorbed into your bloodstream and makes its way inside your body. And the scary part about this is most of the chemicals that get into our body that way don't get out. Okay? Instead, what happens is they get lodged into the fatty tissue of our body where they stay. Basically, they remain there and they add to something called your body burden. Okay? Your chemical body burden, and this is a scientifically documented phenomena, or reality, I should say. We all have a body burden, and our body burden, of course, varies based on how toxic we are and how many chemicals we're being exposed to, not just in personal care, but in general. But knowing that your personal care products are a potential source of toxicity is all the more important, right? So the greater your body burden, the weaker your immune system is going to be. At a minimum, it'll weaken your immune system, which then makes you susceptible to a whole host of health problems, okay? And it also makes you toxic. And when you're toxic, your liver and your kidneys, which are the body's major organs of detoxification, have to work overtime to try to filter and detoxify, which is what their job is. But when they're just maxed out, they can't anymore. And that is actually what's prematurely aging you, which is having the toxins and making your organs have to work overtime all the time to try to keep up, and then they're not really keeping up. Okay, so that's the real reality. Now, are you getting this? Give me a shout out in the comments below if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. So think of it this way. If you use skincare products that are made with these chemicals, even if the chemicals are combined with healthy ingredients, then you are absorbing those chemicals into your body and you're hanging on to them, right? So obviously the occasional exposure to some of these chemicals is not going to create a problem for you. But do you think that routine exposure to small amounts of harmful substances is going to be better for you in the long run or worse? So just remember that exposures add up. Right? Keep that in mind. So that brings me to the next question of how do you know if your products are safe, unsafe, or unsafe? Are they toxic? So, obviously where you shop and buy products can determine that. If you shop in the natural products channel, you're one step ahead of the game because the variety of choices that are available in that retail channel are going to be a lot safer in general. Now, of course, there's still nuances even within the natural products world that need to be considered, but you're still going to be a huge step ahead than if you're buying, your products in the supermarket or even in a department store, right? So, because even some of the biggest trusted name brands make products with these chemicals, and it's not like it's intentional that they're trying to harm you. It's just that a lot of those ingredients are just way cheaper to make, right? Which means they have bigger profits, and that's how they become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, so the first step here is to be able to read and understand how to read a product label, and whatever claims are being made on the front of the label there. And that way you can quickly rule out products that have ingredients that are, no-nos, ones that you should avoid, and then search for ones that are made with safer, healthier alternatives. Now, I want to share a perfect example of what I call a hidden health mine with you. Something that I believe is moderately seductively packaged and deceptively packaged. It's made to look like it's really good for you, but it's made with some really nasty ingredients. So I'm going to just, I don't know how much. I'm going to hide that there so you don't see the brand name. You may recognize it if you use this product. But here's a product that, this is what I have on hand. I won it somewhere, in a meeting somewhere, and I'm hanging on to it because it's a great example of what I'm talking about. So if the person who provided this where I won it is watching, no offense to you, okay? But okay, this is an aromatherapy happiness body scrub with bergamot and mandarin, natural essential oils. You probably can't read that. And I'm going to turn around for a quick second. This is way small, so I'm sure you're not going to be able to read it. So I'm just going to read some of the ingredients to you. So the first handful of ingredients. First ingredient is sucrose, which is sugar. That's the scrub part. The second ingredient is propylene glycol. That is a very toxic ingredient. Do you know what that is? That is the main ingredient in the antifreeze that you use in your car. And it's there to thermoregulate the product to keep it from freezing or melting in extreme conditions. But it's an extremely harmful toxin, and it's the second ingredient listed in here. And in a little bit, I'm going to share with you the order of ingredients in the ingredients panel and what the significance of that is. The third ingredient is water, which is common, and then sodium lauryl sulfate, another toxic ingredient, hydrated silica, cocamide MEA, another chemical, fragrance, and if you've watched some of my previous sessions, you know that the fragrance often contains harmful ingredients called phthalates. And I'm not going to go any further, but those are the first handful of ingredients in here. And then we start to get into something that sounds a little bit more natural, like walnut shell powder, and then the bergamot peel, and et cetera, et cetera. But the first handful of ingredients, which makes up the bulk of the product, is almost all chemicals. Now, in comparison, and this is really the best way to learn how to do this, how to find out, is to compare like commercial products with natural products. This product here, Shea Moisture Hand and Body Scrub. This is actually a product I use, and I studied it very carefully before I bought it because that's what I do. I read labels on everything. And I just want to share with you the first few ingredients in this product by comparison, okay? The first ingredient is sugar. The second is safflower oil, certified organic. The third is shea butter, also certified organic. The fourth is cocoa butter, also organic. And then mango seed butter, organic. Jojoba oil, vegetable glycerin, olive oil, ginger root, lemongrass, and so on and so on. So I don't know, it's hard when you don't have the writing right in front of you to do the side-by-side comparison, but I think you can tell pretty quickly that there's a significant difference in the way this product is made versus the other one. Now this is more sexily packaged. This is kind of, just plain, it's fine. But this is a perfect example of a hidden health mine, right? You might buy that sexy package or buy it as a gift for someone and think, oh, it's aromatherapy, oh, it's like happiness, it's gonna do all these things for you. In the meantime, it's loaded with toxic chemicals. So that's a perfect example of what I call a hidden health mine. And so how do you know what ingredients to avoid? Well, I have a little something for you that I think will help you make the answer to this question a lot easier. Now, I've put together this handy tip sheet. It's called the top 12 toxic personal care ingredients to stop using right now. Okay, and it just gives you like kind of, it's a handy at a glance chart. And in this column here, we have the names of the ingredients. And this column in the middle tells you what products they're typically found in. And then over here, we have all the dangers, all the dangers that have been documented, scientifically researched and documented. Okay. Now this is only the top 12, but I think you got to start somewhere if you're just learning about this for the first time. There's really about 30 ingredients that have been widely documented as toxic, but these are the worst offenders, and that's why I put it in here. It's a quick, handy tip sheet. Now, if you'd like to get a copy of this, free copy of this, then just type in the comments below the word skin, okay? And I will personally reach out to you with details on how you can grab your free copy of that, okay? And if you'd like some guidance on how to use the tip sheet, by the way, I have a little challenge for you if you're game. Once you get a copy of this sheet, I want you to print it out so you have it handy. And then I want you to take it with you into, I don't know, the bedroom, the bathroom, wherever it is you keep most of your skincare products. Then I want you to pick up your skincare products and start reviewing the ingredients. Look at the ingredients and then match them up against the tip sheet and see if and how many of your products contain at least one or more of these top 12 ingredients. If they do, I want you to get a big red marking pen like a Sharpie or whatever you have handy there, or crayon if that's what you have handy. And then I want you to like take it and make draw a big X or a circle with a slash on the front or maybe on the cap as a reminder to you that when you finish that product, you're not going to buy it again. You're going to find a healthier alternative to replace it. That's my challenge to you. And then the next time you're ready to buy the product, whether you're buying online on a website or in the store, grab your handy tip sheet and have it close by. I want you to scan the ingredients carefully, or the ingredient disclosure. And by the way, if you're shopping on a website that doesn't give you full disclosure, ingredient disclosure, you should shop there. You should stop shopping there, in my humble opinion anyway. So have your handy tip sheet, and then I want you to check the ingredients against them, okay? But, this is the first and most important step, really, in choosing healthier products that are not going to damage your health, which is just eliminate the crap. Just eliminate the toxins and the chemicals. They're totally unnecessary, and there's way better choices out there, especially in the natural products world has been exploding over the last 15 years, and there's new awesome products coming out all the time. So you have plenty of variety to choose from, and they really work. These products actually really work. So who's game and willing to try this challenge? Let me know in the comments below if you are. Now, after you take this first step, the next step is to figure out what to look for instead. So I'm going to give you some quick tips now here on, again, how to navigate the product label. So the FDA, U.S. Food and Drug Administration, requires manufacturers to list ingredients in the order of concentration or prevalence, right? So the bulk of the products are in the first handful of ingredients. And that's where I call it the 5 to 7 rule. My 5 to 7 rule is the first 5 to 7 ingredients in the product label is the first thing you need to look at to identify whether it has the toxic ingredients or not. So you want to look for the top 12 in your first 5 ingredients. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of ingredients listed on here, by the way, because part of it is they have to put a botanical or something called INCI, INCI name, in addition to the regularly, the widely used popular name for the ingredient. So it'll look like a really long panel. Anything that is 1% or less in concentration doesn't have to be listed in any particular order. That's at the manufacturer's discretion. So what I want you to do is look at the first 5 to 7 ingredients on the label, and then think about, does it sound like familiar? Does it sound like maybe something you might have heard in your high school biology or your Latin class, for example? Or does it sound more like something you might have heard about in your chemistry class? That's one way to do it. Keep in mind now that lotions and creams, moisturizers in particular, are, as well as liquid soaps and bodies, are made primarily from water, right? So water makes up about 60 to 75% of the product. So water is typically the first, here, but water is typically the first ingredient, or should be the first ingredient in your moisturizer. If it's not, I would be very suspicious and steer clear. But the test there is just, check the first 5 to 7 ingredients. And with the lotions, you might want to check the first 5 to 7 ingredients after the water, really, to be a little bit more efficient at this. And if it doesn't pass your 5 to 7 rule, if you have it, toss it out. If you don't buy it, okay? So check to make sure that water is the first ingredient in your moisturizer, and make sure that the first 5 to 7 ingredients on the label don't contain any of the top 12 toxins at a minimum. And then give me a shout out in the comments below, by the way, if you're finding this information useful. Okay. Now, to deepen your understandings of which products are harmful and which ones are not, it kind of helps to know what a product really is. So what is a lotion or a moisturizer? The moisturizers are typically at their base, when we first created them, are basically oil and water. So water makes up the bulk of the product, 60 to 75%, and oil, and that being not essential oils, but just some kind of a base oil, is the bulk of the remainder of the lotion. And then there's usually an emulsifying agent, something that helps bind the water and the oil together to create that creamy mayonnaise-like substance, right? So the oils that are used in a lot of products, commercial products, are mineral oil. The mineral oil is a derivative of petroleum, it's a petroleum byproduct, and it's actually quite toxic, and it's one of the top 12 toxins, by the way. So mineral oil is the base oil that's used in most commercial moisturizers. Not in the natural products channel, but in your widespread, including well-known name brands and even high-end name brands. So look for what the base oil is in the lotion. So the rule of thumb in general here is the fewer ingredients, the better, right? If a high quality ingredient is being used, then you don't need that many of them to get the job done, and you don't need to apply the product all the time. So now you can say goodbye to those jumbo 32-ounce bottles, of lotion that are made primarily of mineral oil. And here's the deal: not only is mineral oil toxic for you in the same way that paraffin is when you're burning candles, it actually dries your skin out. And that's why if you're using one of those products, you have to buy like the huge 32-ounce bottle, because you have to keep reapplying it constantly to get any dry skin relief. Now, I call that the beauty industry's dirty little secret. It is a guaranteed replenishment rate, meaning you have to keep using the product because it doesn't really work the way it's supposed to. So you keep buying large quantities, use that up, buy some more. You just, it's a vicious and endless kind of thing, vicious cycle. So the oil component that you want to look for in a moisturizer in a healthy natural product, anything that's a nut, seed, or a vegetable oil of some kind. So nut oils are actually great skincare oils, things like almond oil, macadamia nut, hazelnut. But a lot, with the exception of macadamia nut, a lot of nut oils go rancid pretty quickly. They have pretty short shelf life. So if you're buying a product with those oils, you may want to keep it in the fridge, or you want to use it up pretty quickly. And same thing with, by the way, with hemp oil. Hemp oil is an excellent skincare oil, but it doesn't have a very long shelf life. Oils like coconut oil and olive oil and jojoba, Jojoba, are very stable. They have long shelf lives, and they mimic our skin's own natural oil, sebum, right? They're highly moisturizing, hydrating, and very restorative to the skin. So you want to look at those as your main oil components in a nice, healthy, natural lotion. Okay. Now, olive oil is a great skincare oil, but because it has that sort of like a smell that's more associated with food and kitchen, some people may not prefer to go that route. And just remember that in a lotion, because it's mixed with with water and other oils, typically you're never going to find a lotion that's just made for a natural lotion that's made from just one oil. It's usually going to be a combination of hydrating oils. You probably won't smell it, but it's something to keep in mind. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, just be very wary of products that combine natural and chemical ingredients. So a lot of commercial products will add one or two natural ingredients or a handful of natural ingredients to the product, just like in this scrub. They have the essential oils and walnut shells and whatnot, but they're mixed in with the super chemicals. So really, they're not any better off for you. It's just a way for them to try to sell more product. And this phenomena is called greenwashing, right? It's where it's made, the product's made to look environmentally safe, healthy. It has like lavender, it has chamomile on it. It's got to be good for you, right? No. The best way, of course, is for you to learn how to read the product labels, understand what the ingredients are. And once you know how to do that, it takes a little bit of practice to do it. But once you know how to do it, you can't be fooled by those kinds of product claims. So just be aware of that when you're starting out, because I think the best way to do it is the way I just shared with you, which is find a product that you have that's a commercially known brand, and then find another product in the natural product world, put them together and compare, and you'll get an idea of just how different they are. You'll start to notice the difference, and you'll start to be aware of these chemicals and that sort of thing. So I just want to share with you real quickly the ingredients from the Dropwise Essentials, one of our lotions. Our ingredients are essentially the same, though what's different is the essential oil blend. And I'm going to read the first 5 to 7 ingredients on here after the water, which is the first ingredient, just so you have an idea. So ingredient number 3 is aloe. Number 4 is coconut oil. Number 5 is macadamia oil. Number 6 is jojoba oil, infused with extracts of calendula and chamomile. And by the way, all our base oils and our extracts are certified organic. And then vegetable glycerin, vegetable emulsifying wax, and beeswax. So those are the first 7 ingredients after the water. Compared to mineral oil, steareth. I wish I had an example of toxic lotion, but I just don't have it. I don't keep them around anymore. I used to have them just for comparative purposes. Okay, so last but not least, is I want to share some resources with you. Online resources, you can look these up in Google, or I will post the links in here afterwards. If you want to deepen your knowledge about toxicity in products and what to avoid and how to pick healthier products, as a starting point, you'll want to check out the Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database. And some of our products are listed in there. So they did a massive accumulated database of products, and all different brands. So there's even some smaller, lesser known companies in there. And they rank them for safety, and it's based on they collect what they call MSDS, which is Material Safety Data Sheets, which are industry tech specs for ingredients, and did it based on the prevalence of ingredients that had, questionable safety issues in the MSDS. So it's not necessarily the most accurate indication of how toxic or how safe an ingredient is, but it's a good starting point. It's a good guideline. Great place to start. You can go in there, you can just search on a category, or you can search on a specific brand. Like if you want to know if the product you have, how that ranks in their database, you can type that name in and look it up. So that's the Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database. And then the next resource is the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics. And by the way, Dropwise was one of the first companies to sign their Compact for Safe Cosmetics way back in like 2004. When it first came out. And there's a ton of information on their website as well. And they're if you want to be more actively involved in the movement to force companies to make safer, healthier products and remove known toxins, then that's a good place to start as well. And then the third resource, if you want to find, of course, I'm gonna make a shameless plug for Dropwise. Obviously, we make very healthy, clean products. So if you want to find a healthier alternative to try out, please visit our website, www.dropwise.com. and check it out. But if you also want to find new products that you may not be aware of that are going to be in that healthy range, you can check out Green America's Green Pages. They have an online version of that on their website, and you can actually get a printed copy. And it's actually a directory of all sorts of green, sustainable companies doing all kinds of products and services. But they do have a whole section on body care, and we are also listed in there. And you know, that's another great place to find brands you may not be aware of that you might like to try. And then last but not least is another website that we participate in, and it's called the All Natural Beauty website. And there are a variety of smaller companies that make handcrafted all natural beauty products. And so I highly recommend that as another place to check out some safer, healthier alternatives to what you might be using right now. So, okay, if you found this valuable, and would still like to grab a copy of my 12 toxin tip sheet, make sure you type the word skin in the comments below. And let me quickly recap what we covered here today. So first, I shared some startling statistics about the mind-blowing number of chemicals that are contained in a lot of our personal care and beauty products, skincare especially, and why you need to pay attention to that, because what you rub into your skin, 60% of it gets absorbed into your bloodstream, and a lot of it ends up staying in your body and not getting out. Right? It gets lodged in the fatty tissue and adds to your chemical body burden, scientifically documented phenomenon. And the greater your body burden is, the more susceptible you are to all kinds of illness and health problems, as well as weight loss resistance. Okay, so something to keep in mind there, especially if you're trying every diet in the world and you're working out and you're not losing weight. Toxicity may be one of the issues or one of the stumbling blocks or things that are sabotaging your weight loss efforts. Okay. Number two, I talked about how to find products that are not toxic. How do you know, like, if your product is toxic or not? And we covered a whole lot of stuff there. So just to recap real quickly, the first and most important thing you want to do is be able to read and understand the label, especially the ingredients panel. And you want to avoid the most toxic chemicals out there. There have been 30 that have been documented as harmful and that are still being widely used. And I've put together the tip sheet with the top 12. So again, if you want a copy of that, type skin in the comments below. And then the next thing is the 5 to 7 rule, which is the first 5 to 7 ingredients listed on the product make up the lion's share of the product. So those first 5 to 7 should not contain any of those top 12 or ideally top 30 ingredients, but really the top 12, because those are the big worst offenders that are most widely used. And your moisturizers and your lotions are made of mostly water with a base, combined with a base oil and using some kind of emulsifying agent. And so water should be the first ingredients listed on the package. And the oil should be a nut, seed, or vegetable oil, not mineral oil. And I didn't say it, but I'm going to say it now. Avoid products made with canola oil, because that's kind of a low-grade, cheap oil that comes from genetically modified crops. So that's that. And then last but not least, I shared some additional resources online, and I will post the links in the comments after the video. And that is the Environmental Working Group Skin Deep database, the Safe Campaign for Safe Cosmetics website, the Green America Green Pages, and the All Natural Beauty Mall. And I hope you found this session valuable. Let me know in the comments below if you did and what you found most interesting or shocking, or something that new that you learned that you didn't know before. And until the next time, be well, and thanks. See ya.